Hello, this is Middle Age Gaming. I'm not used to the introduction, so we'll do that quickly. Thank you for watching us or not. If you are live, don't forget that we have the little chat windows that you can talk to us and give us our question. We, for once, have the four of us today, so that's fantastic. I would say it's kind of a anniversary of the show, but it's not. Anyway, today the theme that we're gonna talk about is mobile games. But since we like to do things our way, we are doing mobile games from the comfort of our home because I'm too lazy to take my phone and play outside. Plus, it's on a small screen and all. I really much prefer to use BlueStack and have a very big screen in front of me, especially since the game I'm using has some very pretty ladies on it, and I prefer to see them on a big screen, of course.
Into that Amazon thing, huh?
Yeah, of course.
Like the big ladies.
No, absolutely not. But we'll see that later.
Double meanings already. It's too early.
No, for you maybe. For me, it's late anyway. So enough ranting from me. So what's the order? You tell me.
I think Korean goes first on the script, so it looks like Korean's gonna describe his game first.
Oh no!
All right, so as everything
I can go
is scripted,
first.
as
That's
you
fine.
can see.
No. I'm cool.
I mean, if you want to start on a negative note, I can go first.
I've missed those.
All right.
Oh no!
I'm going. I want to be positive today.
All right.
I had a very late meeting that was very negative. So, okay. My game is Disney's Sorcerer's Arena or Disney's Sorcerer's Apprentice. I always forget what the name is. Old, so it's okay.
Apprentice is the movie.
Oh, thank you, Adam. So, I actually enjoy this. I was playing this yesterday. Only thing I will say this much: BlueStacks, we love you. Thank you so much, but Jesus Christ, you run terrible on my PC. I mean, I have a 3070. I can play Battlefield 2042 in 4K, 60 frames per second.
This is just optimistic right now.
Okay, yes. I was supposed to be optimistic. Okay, we'll skip all of that. Okay, but no, really cool game. I mean, even though I'm turning 39 in 2 weeks, really fun. All these cool Disney characters, and Adam was reminding me, and Antoine was reminding me yesterday when I was streaming, like, oh, this is who this is, and it's really colorful. It's sort of like a happier version of Hearthstone Mercenaries in a sense, because you have characters, you have equipment and stuff, and equipment changes your stats, and you have 5 different levels of stats. So basically, what this is in a sense is like a version of what I would say is like. I always think of Final Fantasy for some reason is like Final Fantasy with turn-based combat, and this is not a stepping stone for Adam and Antoine to talk about Final Fantasy. Let me say this right now.
I'll talk
or anybody for that matter. But basically, so you start off the game. You start off with 4 characters, and you ended up with 5 characters. I'm still doing the PvE stuff, and you're going through the campaign. And you as you go through, you get like little character shards or little coins, and when you get X amount of coins, you unlock characters. Like I unlocked the evil lady from Cinderella, or I think, oh no, she's from 101 Dalmatians. Then I unlocked the lady from Gargoyles, Demona, and then I unlocked somebody else as well. And I had 3 unlocks basically after 1.5 hours of play, including the time I spent on my phone. Overall, pretty fun, but I mean, after 1.5 hours, I was disappointed. I had hit a wall. Like in the PvE campaign, one of the PvE campaigns, it was basically like, sorry, you're only level 10. In order to get further, you need to be level 12. I'm like, what the? And then I had to go into the other campaign, and even after 1.5 hours, you couldn't do PvP, which I would imagine is where all the fun is and where a lot of people are. On the chat side as well, I could see there's a lot of like different people. I saw Korean, French, Italian, lots of stuff all going through the same chat, which was kind of interesting at the same time. But yeah, no, I was pretty happy with the game. Besides its performance on my PC, which is why I was telling the guys I want to stream this from my phone, because my phone, of course, is 120 megahertz screen. It has the latest AMOLED technology, and it looks beautiful compared to this freaking 1080p. I can't do 1080p anymore. It just looks too ugly. All right, with that very weird description, questions.
So Okay, when we're looking at the little battle that you did there, there's these little yellow bars under the green bars. I'm assuming green bars are health. What's yellow?
Yellow is speed, just like Hearthstone, just like you and I talked about it. So when you're in a battle, the enemy guys, you can see the yellow bars go up, and when it goes up to completion, that guy is going to act the next turn. So you can just sort of like, okay, this guy's going to act next. He's going to do the most damage. I should like 5 people target this guy and take care of him before he does crazy amounts of damage.
I
Do you
was
know
watching
how
your
many?
stream yesterday. Sorry, just to know, were you able to figure out if you can change rows? Because I saw when I was watching your stream that you had some magician in the front row and some front row heavy hitters hiding in the back. And I couldn't see in your stream that you had the option to switch the rows and stuff like this. Do you have these kind of things? Like, is it advanced or it's really basic tactics?
So you can change rows, but what you need, so like what I figured out in my composition, you need somebody to taunt. So like in Hearthstone, when you taunt, magic can still hit anybody. But in this Disney game, when you taunt, magic can only target the person who's being taunted. So physical attacks or magical attacks can only hit taunted minions. So that's what I need is the rows don't matter, but you need a taunt person to suck all that damage up. So that would have solved it. Adam, your question.
I was because when I was watching the trailer, I saw things like Darkwing Duck, and you mentioned gargoyles. So, how many here or minions do they have? Because I mean, Disney's just got tons of characters.
I mean, just from the intro picture, and I've looked through it as well. I saw at least 40 unlockable characters.
Okay.
Yeah. And they all seem like really varied in terms of powers and stuff. I mean, one thing it has over Hearthstone is that you start off, and as your guy levels up, you unlocking more than just 3 powers. Hearthstone is only Mercenaries is only 3 powers. This has 4, 5, 6, and your powers get modified by the gear, and you have like 8 options for gear and stuff. So, I mean, for a like a Disney maybe targeted at kids game, there's a lot of like complication in there that I would like. What? I didn't care about any of it because I'm like, I don't want to spend time thinking about this right now. So I just like equip all. I don't care. Yeah.
So how does combat work exactly? I mean, do you just like drag from one character to another, or?
So it's just the idea of like initiative or speed, like in Hearthstone Mercenaries. You somebody starts first, the person with the most initiative or speed, and then it goes in order. And you can sort of see it based on the yellow bars. So it's not like in a RPG where you can see like people on the side and it's like this guy's first, this guy's second. You sort of have to like eyeball and say, okay, this enemy is first, then it's me, then it's this guy, then it's this guy, then back to this guy. And but basically, you start off and you can see in the battle right now is basically one guy goes, you target a guy, you can choose an ability hits, then it goes to the next person, pretty much like that.
Okay.
I have a few questions.
Go ahead, Phil.
Quite a few. First off, so there's a huge amount of characters, I'm guessing. So looking at the pitch there, you choose a set amount of team. Do you get like bonuses if you play with like a theme, almost like a deck, let's say, like a theme of they're all princesses or they're all from a certain cartoon or thing?
None that I have seen so far. So no bonuses, and that would be a thing I guess would be kind of cool, but that would be like an extra level of complexity on top of stuff already.
I'm guessing that there is, as with all of these mobile games, there is a pay-to-win element or a pay-to-play element. Is that in the characters that you can unlock in a faster progression, or is it like a locked campaign or stamina type thing?
So I did, if you watch last night's stream, I did run out of energy at one point, and I had to what did I have to do? I had to do something to get more energy. But when you join, like, this kind of game, you join like a guild, and if you join a guild, people can send you energy as well, which is a component. You can use, of course, like with all these games, you can use real money to just straight up buy characters, just like in Hearthstone Mercenaries as well. The pay to win aspect, I would imagine, is When you get up to level 15, you can unlock PvP, which is where all the the serious stuff is happening. And then people just say, okay, I'm spending 20, 30 US dollars to buy all the strongest characters. And just like in Mercenaries, there's a tier list online, so you know who is the strongest character. In this as well, there is a tier list. I had a look at a YouTube video. I'm like, oh my god, I'm nowhere close to that. But yeah, definitely a pay to win element. But for someone like me who's probably going to play this an hour a week, 2 hours a week, maybe it doesn't matter.
And my last one was going to be, and I've noticed this with every mobile game, and I'm guessing it's the same, just out of curiosity. They always tend to have this, you pay your money for the in-game currency. And I was reading somewhere that it said this is all supposed to be a ploy with these game companies, because the idea is that if it says like $2 or $5, there'll be a certain amount to which you're willing to spend. But if you spend like $10 and you exchange that into 1,000 mythical tokens of the unicorn, then you don't really mind spending 100 mythical tokens of the unicorn for some character, because you never really, maybe not always relating it to a real cash value. Is there a gem or mystical thing in this game?
Oh yeah. There's multiple sort of real world. There's multiple currencies that you can buy with real money. There's 2 of them you earn in game, and 1 is just straight up with real money. And you're right, because like I think about Hearthstone, and I build up a lot of cash regularly on Hearthstone. I'm like, and I know how much that cash costs. So 100 gold in Hearthstone is $2 US, and I go through 100 gold. I go through 1,000 gold a week, but I win enough, so it doesn't matter. I'm not spending my real money. But I'm like, after you mentioned, I'm like, oh my god, I'm spending $10 a week in fake real money.
Kind of makes you wonder if some of these games should just go a cryptocurrency route and just be like, hey, this in-game gold is now a form of cryptocurrency that we can spend. I mean, like Game Arena, I feel like could do something like that, right?
I mean, there are already games that do this. There's a big, very famous upcoming sort of like exploring No Man's Sky style game that's in development. It's called Illuvium, and like their one Illuvium is like $1,800 US at the moment, and they're going this route of stuff.
So you can buy stuff in game or out of game.
And you can sell, like when you discover like this planet becomes an NFT, and you can say, hey, you want ownership of this planet in the game? You're gonna have to pay me, $20,000 US.
It's cool. You own a planet.
A fake in-game planet, yes.
Yay.
All right, I'm done, gents.
right.
We can move on.
So, Antoine, you want to go next, or you want me to go next?
Yeah, sure. Well, I can go. No
Okay,
worries.
go ahead.
So the game, well, just a disclaimer, the game I played, so it's State of Survival that you can see on screen now. I have played the big amount of maybe 45 to 50 minutes. So I have seen quite enough to know what it's talking about and the mechanics, but I know that Phil has played it as well, so I'm sure he will have a lot of comments and he will certainly add on to what I'm saying. It's quite similar to Korean's game in the fact that you have heroes, you battle with heroes, but the battle system is completely different. They call it as a MMO RTS, saying that there's a strategy type of combat. Don't think strategy like Final Fantasy Tactics. That's the few combats I've done. You have 1 or 2 heroes at one end of the screen, waves of zombies coming, trying to attack your heroes, and each hero has some kind of special power. I think the little girl you see on screen can send a dog to attack, and the guy like G.I. Joe, American Army guy, has a turret, some sort of minigun that you can place on the map and try to kill the zombies before they reach you. So at the moment, what I did is very basic, but it's very fun because it's post-apocalyptic, it's zombies. It was released August 2019, so that means just after COVID hits, a few months. So they thought, virus, this is how it's gonna end.
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing, yeah. So yeah, it's base building, and this is the kind of game where you need to set up your camp, set up your vegetable area, upgrade everything to collect. So I don't think there was energy or things like this, but you are limited. You can't play as long as you don't have the necessary resources to clean up your field, to upgrade your base, to this kind of stuff. So that's this kind of game. But again, base building, RTS, the setup is pretty fun. I kind of like the characters. You have G.I. Joe who's here to save everyone. You have the little girls who's really very much like there was a Walking Dead with what's her name? Ah, Clementine or something like this.
Oh, Clementine.
Wa- Clementine, yeah, she's very much the type, so I think it's very much inspired. And 2019, that means it's already a 2 years old for a game. So for a mobile game, that's quite old. But it's very funny because they did a collaboration earlier this year in May with The Walking Dead. So they are trying to literally get Grandpa and say, "Hey, mate, let's try to help each other get more views." Because Walking Dead is what,
5 years
10
old,
years
yeah, something
already?
like that.
Oh, it's yeah. There's already a
Or, yeah,
few
like
seasons.
they
I think it's still continuing, but it has been a long time since I stopped watching.
think they're
So
on a different series now.
really,
I
okay.
think, I don't know.
Well, because sometimes I see advertisement of The Walking Dead, and since they did a collaboration, I imagine that the story is still ongoing. But pretty much people like me are like, yeah, first seasons were fantastic, but it's what is it now, seven, eight season? Absolutely don't remember this game this show anymore. So I'm not sure which one is helping which. If the series is helping the game or the game is helping the series at this time. So Phil, I don't know if you played a bit more than me on this game. If
I
you
think they
want
have.
to take you on further.
I think I saw somewhere they have a collaboration every year. I think where they have a Walking Dead character.
Okay. I
So I
saw
don't know.
like this year was Daryl,
It was Daryl,
the
yeah.
guy with his crossbow.
Yeah, I think I managed to get him when I was playing. I think I played for about 2 or 3 weeks. I think it was like between a lull of when I stopped kind of playing Warhammer Chaos and Conquest and just before getting into Lord of the Rings Rise to War. There was like a period where I was just a bit bored, and I think I spent about $30 in it and got some characters. You have to pay for like all of the funky characters, and it's one of those systems where you have to, in order to upgrade them, you need tokens now as well. Like it's not just you need to unlock the character, then you need to randomly collect a certain amount of tokens to upgrade them to each level. But yeah, for me, it's almost runs more like a tower. Even though in the trailer it looks, you might mistake it for just a base builder game. There are base builder elements to it, but way less so than a lot of other base builder games. But the combat is, and I read somewhere it said probably more like a tower-based defense type game in a way. In the combat there that you can see, you only have 3 guys, and one's always a brawler for your combat. One is a controller, and one is a turret placer. And there's tiles in which you can move in that square. They're pretty much always that sort of like V-shaped attack that they're going to come into, and you can place your tiles on the certain places they can see the turrets. And the brawler guy who will be at the front, he can like move forward. He's the only one that can move in the combat, so you can basically send him up and around to the sides, and he has much shorter range, like a flamethrower or grenades or things like that. And then the third character at the back, the controller, quite often sometimes has a pet. Sometimes they do like freaky like poison damage or all sorts of weird things, and you can get combos between them. So you could have a brawler that maybe makes them explode if they're poisoned, and your controller might do poison damage just to get those combos. So there is elements to it. For me, it got a bit samey, and it did get a bit boring after sort of like 2 weeks. And I just got into the alliances, and they were talking about these big missions and these big storylines where you can all go and complete certain tasks together. But and I never really got into that, because just as I was starting to get into it, I was kind of like, oh, I'm a bit bored now. I've hit my tolerance for this game.
I don't know what you think about it, but I really want to compare it to, I think it's called 7 Days to Die. The PC game where exactly the same. You have to build up your base because in 7 days there's waves of zombies coming to kill you, and it's an excellent PC game. I really love it, and I wish mobile games would let me just buy a game, maybe $15-$20, something like this, and let me do whatever I want. Don't let me wait for. I know the point of a mobile game is to play 5 minutes and stop. It's frustrating, and as you said, in 3 weeks you're already bored. It's already too much. So I wish they could just let me maybe have a freemium option or a buy the game option. But I guess that would be the buy the game option would be only a solo experience. You can't really do multiplayer with this, or I'm not sure, but Yeah, so that's kind of the issue I have with mobile games, or like Kriyan had earlier with the energy. I don't have energy. I'm stuck. I have to wait 20 minutes to get one energy, and that means I can't do nothing. Basically, I have to wait 10, 12 hours before I can actually enjoy the game. 1 hour, 10 hours of waiting for 1 hour of game. Woo! That's not what I call exciting.
They used
I
to
mean,
have.
you don't have to play those type of games, though. I mean, that's just. I think BlueStacks just tends to be floating more with those games, but there are loads that you can pay like $5 or $10 and get the full game package.
Professor Layton, I did it. It's fantastic, really. I don't know
Yeah.
if this one is on BlueStack actually. This one I got it on my mobile, but if it's on BlueStack, that would be great because the puzzles would be much larger. Need to check that.
Yeah, they used to have that kind of model. Like for Angry Birds, you could either buy it and get it ad free, or you could get the free version and have ads. So they used to have options like that. But I think this model is more profitable, which is why we're seeing a lot of companies going this route because obviously a company exists to make money. So, this one does not have energy, right?
Not that I can recall. It's more based on collecting resources.
Okay,
You
but
can't.
did you ever feel like you hit a wall where it's like, okay, I've collected all my resources and everything's on cooldown and I need to wait like 2 hours or something like that?
Just look at the screen right now. You can see that in order to continue in my story, I need to upgrade my HQ. Of course, it's the very beginning of the game, so I just need to collect. Even at the very beginning of the game, I have to collect my daily reward, my quest reward, so I can actually upgrade the HQ. So imagine if it's like this after 20 minutes of game. Imagine if it's after hours and hours. You can't continue the story unless you collect X amount, and to collect X amount of food or whatever, you need to collect with your farms. Very likely you will need to play PvP. I think PvP would be the main way to get resources from someone else. So yeah, if you don't want to do PvP, you're blocked.
How does
I hate
PvP work in a game like this? I mean, are you playing as zombies? What's going on there?
That's a very good question. It's just because I remember another game which was a bit like this, but can't remember the name. But
Phil would know, right? Because Phil,
yeah,
didn't you do some PvP?
Sorry, 1 second. I was just finding we already do have the link for the State of Survival BlueStacks on
thank you.
the
Yeah,
account.
of course, yes, we do.
I can't remember. There is a PvP feature, but I think it's more based on like factional control. I thought like something spawns and all the factions tend to go towards it, and then if you sort of like claim it, do the most damage, then you sort of like control that point. Was how like the clan based system works. But I'm trying to think. Oh, I can't remember how PvP works.
Oh, that's all right.
Well, to be honest, in this kind of mobile games, the mechanics are usually quite the same. You're just changing the settings and the sprites, but whether it's a medieval game or a zombie apocalypse game, in the end, the base building mechanics are rather the same. And if you want your resources, you have to go steal it to someone else.
Then again, for our target demographic, middle-aged gamers, how often are we going to be playing this for 5, 6, 7 hours or months at a time? It's like Phil said, 2 to 3 weeks and then change.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Do you build units on it? I think, mate, you build units on it. It's like a unit-based game. I think that the tower-based hero things are just the way you gather resources. I'm pretty sure there's another element to it. That's sort of like a side element. I always thought.
In any case, it's quite interesting. I like the little story, and I like that in the very beginning of the game, you introduce the characters, and there's this guy, this big hillbilly American guy, just completely useless and ranting about everything. Just for this character, I want to continue to see because I'm sure he's gonna have a horrible death. I really want to see that happening.
I prefer. I'm trying to remember what the game is. What's the game where you're almost like in a fallout shelter and you're surviving the apocalypse?
Isn't that just Fallout Shelter?
Fallout Shelter?
Fallout Shelter. There we go.
I liked Fallout
Perfect.
Shelter. I played that
Me
for
too.
a long time.
Yeah,
Mm.
I like that game.
Yeah.
We should move on then to Phil or Adam, I guess, whoever's next.
You want to go, Phil, or you want me to go?
You can go. I'm going to search out for where the Fallout Shelter's on the BlueStacks.
Yeah. I loved Fallout Shelter. That's one of the few mobile games I played for a long time. All right, so I tried to do, tried being the key word here. Final Fantasy VII First Soldier. So when Korean said no Final Fantasy, ha ha ha. So
Here you go.
so
Foiled again.
I know. I really wanted to like this game, and I like it in theory, and I hate it in practice. It's just everything about it drove me nuts. So it's kind of interesting. It's not made by Squaresoft. It's what's the word? It's published by Squaresoft, but it's made by A-Team Incorporated. It was released November 17th, so this is pretty much still a brand new game. And it's a battle royale game, and it's set 30 years prior to the events of Final Fantasy VII. So, as the title implies, you are Shinra soldiers who are applying for the initial soldier program. So basically, you're all competing so that you can become, part of that initial generation of soldiers. And overall, there's things I liked. Like I said, I like it in theory. I like it on paper, but just the execution was just messy. So part of the problem, I think, is really the fact that this is a mobile game. Like you can see right here that the screen is actually quite cluttered. The way you have it is you have a melee attack, you have your gun, so you can fire the gun off. You have a jump, you have a crouch, you have your zoom in, and then you have 3 magic spells that you can use. And with all that stuff, you just have all these little buttons, and they're taking up a pretty big chunk of the screen. Oh, and you also have like a special ability based on your class. But at the same time, when your thumbs are on the screen, you can't, everything's under your thumb, so you can't really see it except for the magic, which is right there in the middle. And there were just times where it was kind of annoying because the placement of the yeah, Jamil here says it looks bad. So the placement of you use your left, where basically a left thumbstick would go. That's how you control your character. With the right thumbstick, or where the right would go, is where you can kind of look around and whatnot. But it's right over the fire button, and there's also a fire button on the left side, right next to your thumbstick. So there's plenty of times where I'm just sitting there and I'm run, blam, 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 start shooting into a wall. And of course I'm like, crud, because you can see here sometimes, like on the screen right now, there's a little kind of indicator and it shows like footsteps. So if somebody's running nearby, it'll indicate which direction you're hearing the footsteps, or if they're shooting, it'll indicate the direction of the shooting. So if you know, or you have an idea that somebody's probably close by and you accidentally start firing, you're basically just giving away your position. So that's just annoying. And so I was like, no. So yeah, the placement of all the buttons and stuff is just really annoying. It would have I feel like it would have worked better if it was on like a console or something like that, where you could have dedicated buttons to it. They do have button mapping for a controller, but I tried to link the DS5 to it, and it was just really weird because it says on the controls, it's like, okay, right trigger is fire, left trigger is aim, but left trigger is also magic. So what you would have to do is basically you'd have to hold down a button for magic and then hit the left trigger, and then you would fire off your magic, so you can kind of charge it and then throw it. Which seemed like it was fine, but then what I was finding out was no, left trigger was not aim or magic. My left trigger was melee attack for some unknown reason. So the button mapping was just not working out right. I've seen other streams where people were saying the same thing, where they're like, the button mapping is just weird. They couldn't get a controller to work. BlueStacks does not currently support this game. They're aware of it, so I put in a ticket, and they said, we're aware of this, and a lot of people have asked about it. So on BlueStacks' side, they were very fast, and they were very nice about it. So I can't complain about BlueStacks' reaction to it, but the game itself was not that great. But gameplay-wise, I feel like if it could work on a controller or something like that, it might actually be kind of fun. The game itself, that doesn't seem to have too many pay-to-win things. Everything that you could the only thing I could see that you could spend money on were skins. So you could pay money for skins or the battle pass. And in a lot of ways, that kind of reminded me a lot of Apex. So there didn't seem to be a lot of pay-to-win kind of mechanics, unlike when I was playing Free Fire and people could, buy or rent or whatever weapons so they could start off a battle with weapons. They don't have that. The weapon variety is pretty limited. There's not a lot of weapons. There seems to be maybe like one or two. I think there's just one of each type of weapon maybe, and you can upgrade it so that there's the gray. The gray one is just kind of basic level, and then blue is higher, and then purple is higher. So you can get tiers of these weapons, but I don't think there's too much variety into the weapons. I think most of the variety comes in the magic system. So you can find materia lying around, and you can pick it up, and if you find another materia of the same type, you can upgrade your materia to the next level. So there are some pretty interesting things you can do with that. Like you can heal yourself, you can use poison, you can use fire, and apparently there's some fun stuff you can do. I saw somebody was using wind, and they would create this kind of tornado, and then they would jump on it, and they could kind of fly up. So they were using it to kind of get a height advantage. So I mean, as far as the game itself, it doesn't seem like it has too much trouble. I mean, compared to something like Apex, no, it's not polished. This is a mobile game. But as far as a mobile game, it's just super cluttered. So it's right in that sweet spot of like, I want to love it and I don't.
But if you could play it on BlueStacks with proper controllers, that could help a lot, right?
If I could play on BlueStacks with proper controllers or mouse and keyboard, it might actually be fun. And I think in for me personally, I think I would enjoy it more than Free Fire, because my problem with Free Fire, it looks a lot like Free Fire, it plays a lot like Free Fire, but at the same time, it seems to be kind of a mix between that and Apex in the sense that it's more like Apex in that there's no real pay to win. It's more like you get the battle pass, but as you progress, you'll get money that you can spend on skins and things like that, or you can automatically unlock skins. There might be an element of pay to win later that I haven't reached yet, so that's a possibility. But yeah, on BlueStacks, I feel like I would enjoy it, but I don't know if this would be the kind of game that I'd want to play a lot. But I feel like I could at least enjoy it.
I do have a question, if you don't mind. I've seen in the trailers that you have 4 classes, if I recall. You have the monks, the magicians, the warriors.
There's more than 4, yeah.
At least that's the 4 I've seen. But from the gameplay I was watching, mainly you just use your gun. So is that actually a point of having different classes? If you use your gun, what's the point of being a monk?
Okay, so your class does 2 things. One is affects your melee weapon. So if you're a monk, you attack pretty fast, but you don't hit as hard. If you're a warrior, you got the standard soldier sword, and you hit harder, but you're a little bit slower. So your melee attack is the one thing. The other thing is your ability, and the abilities are really important. So the warrior has kind of this dash ability where he puts a shield around him and he dashes forward. If you look at where they have the magic, just above it to the right, there's your ability. So the warrior has the dash. The ninja has a stealth ability, so they can go invisible for a short period of time. The ranger can it'll mark enemies in your vicinity, so even if they go behind a wall, you can still see where they are. The wizard, I don't remember what the wizard does. The monk will put up a shield. They show that in the video. There's kind of this mana wall in front of you, so you can put up a shield in front of you. So it's basically another form of magic that is specific to your class is the biggest difference. So they do actually make a bit of a difference.
So I imagine it's much funnier if you play multiplayer.
Yeah.
People
yeah, and they also have
different
passives.
games.
Like I think Monk will get beefier the less life they have, and I think another one I think maybe Ninja can lifesteal or something like that. Yeah.
So I want to talk. What is it? Jamil is asking about that, about the controller. I was going to say that when I was setting up the live stream and I was testing out on the Thursday before, I was looking for a game to play, and I downloaded Fireblade because I couldn't get the game that I wanted, and I knew it was just like a mech run around and shoot things. And I had the exact same problem, and it was with BlueStacks. And it said like, everything I read online was if you've got a controller, it's fine. Because like you can easily set up the buttons and things, but it was because in the game on the phone you're supposed to use 2-finger swipe in the direction that you're going to shoot. And the problem with the game was that it was like fixed location when you were shooting between regions, but you would be maybe like slightly different in which way you were facing. And you could set up a double swipe feature on your control pad. I didn't spend ages trying to work it, but eventually I managed to get it set to the screen. But say like my double swipe feature was here, if I set like the letter M to go here, which was perfectly fine to launch my missile as long as the enemy was here. And if the enemy wasn't here because it's a fixed screen, I had no way of moving it other than when you choose your normal attack trigger with the mouse button and kept shooting, you would slowly move to the direction that you needed to be. So I had a firing arc that was kind of like, if the enemies were there, just shoot them, and then slowly I could just get about this area here with my missile. And if the enemy tank wasn't here, then I was screwed. So yeah, I had
like a Hollywood movie with like the tracking the guy as he's running.
And your ammo is limited as well. So like I'd be shooting here my anti-infantry ammo to get my missile over here so that I could then fire my rocket, and then the infantry come and I'm like, oh well, I'm on cooldown now. I've got no bloody ammo.
Yeah. But yeah, like what Jamil's saying here, you know, controller is going to make it better, but there's a lot of mobile like that, so it makes it less enjoyable. Yeah, I don't know if I would necessarily say it would make it less enjoyable, but it's one of those things where it doesn't really add much to... It doesn't really add a lot new. It's got some different features, right? I mean, you got some class abilities in Magic and whatnot, but it's one of those things where if you're already invested in another mobile game like Free Fire, and you're invested in it, you've been playing it for a long time, this one's not going to pull you away from that, because it's like, okay, it's the same enough that I don't really feel like I need to move on to something else, and I'm already invested in this other thing. So I don't see this game getting super big in the long run. I'm sure there will be people that play it. I think mostly it's... if it didn't even have the Final Fantasy name, I don't think anybody would even recognize it. I don't think anybody would look at it. So, yeah, I mean, it's fun enough on its own, but yeah, I don't see it becoming anything big.
Apart from her chocobo costume, is it? I don't know. It looks like
There's a chocobo costume. Yeah, that's the thing, is they have all these little costumes. Yeah, the girl's wearing a chocobo costume. So as you go, you'll unlock more outfits. You start off with the basic Shinra soldier outfit, and as you go, you can unlock kind of higher ranking outfits, and you can unlock the chocobo stuff, and you can unlock like ninja outfits. If you get your class up to level 50, you get like a special outfit for that class, so you can have a monk outfit or whatever. And then of course you can also, right now you can buy skins. So right now you can buy Biggs, Wedge, Jesse, Tifa, Cloud, and I think there's one more, but I'm not sure who it was. So you can buy a skin, so you'll just look exactly like those characters. And you can get a Turk outfit, so if you want to be a Turk.
We should move on to Phil.
Yep.
All right, Phil, time to shine, like you always do.
Before I start on this one, because I said I would make a notice of what the plans were, Lord of the Rings Rise to War. The streaming was quite successful, and I kind of enjoyed it. And to be honest, the amount of time that I spent, even though it was like a 6.5 hour stream, I actually realized that afterwards, if I was going to make like a 20-minute video, I'd probably end up spending a similar amount of time making my assets, doing the pictures, get everything set up on OBS, record it, switch the file, get rid of everything ready, then compose it, go into the video. Anyway, I just figured, actually, that's probably more effective and more useful and more fun, because it's quite nice to be engaging. This weekend, I will stream on both days, 4th and the 5th, Saturday and Sunday, at 3 p.m. UTC, game time, server time, which is 11 p.m. for me, probably for however many hours. Last time I keep thinking it's going to be 2 or 3 hours, and it easily escalates into sort of like these ridiculous 6 or 7 hour sessions. This week, my priorities on Saturday, we're going to be discussing Season 2 politics and the complexities involved, the size of factions causing problems with unity inside the factions, disappointing distribution of figures and the lack of numbers in 3 or 4 of the factions, map design, does it make natural enemies and natural allies, best starting commanders, how roleplay should be roleplay, and then, like last week, we'll also have the drop-in and chat with a drink at the end of the session, which I've now got set up for Discord. And people can even come in and stream their stuff onto Discord, and I can stream their stream on my stream in an inception, confusion, madness of streaming. In fact, if you are in the channel, you could stream your stuff and use some sort of device to stream somebody else's stuff onto yours, and we would just have this endless sort of like Lord of the Rings peoples going on. Anyway, what I wanted to say is Lord of the Rings, I think is interesting in that season 2 has begun and it brings a whole lot of different challenges to it. And I've spoke before on this channel about season 1, and at the end of season 1 I got bored and I kind of like had a bit of a burnout and I was just fed up of it. And you could probably tell by there was a lack of videos and content that was just like, oh god, will this server just end already? As it dragged for like 4 weeks. We're waiting 4 weeks for the server to end. I know a lot of people are having that problems with their server 1s. Bear with it. Season 2 is very different. The start is very different, and everything that they've offered, they've given more content. That the packs are different, and there's so many people on the servers that instead of sort of having 1 or 2 big strong factions that are realistic for the ring, it's kind of like 5 or 6 factions. Although, like I said, there's going to still be a problem where there's 3 or 4 factions where just nobody plays them, and they're just going to get steamrolled, and you've wasted your 2 months. But yeah, season 2 so far, I am enjoying it. We're a week in. It's madness. It's crazy. I played over the weekend, and that was just sort of like getting used to the starting play. But there is so much involved. And I lost in the first 24-hour period, guys. They give you this bonus where like it's less stamina to do things. You take less permanent losses. So you've really got to capitalize on that. And the people that make the effort and they manage to get that, they are so far advanced because they take like half losses and they use half stamina. That 1 day period, if you grind it hard and you have no life or no job, or you work on your computer and you can put 24 days in, you can get 48 hours ahead. And somebody who maybe only plays 4 hours a day, you can end up being literally 5 days of their gameplay ahead of them. So it's weird because the game came up on a Thursday, which is just a horrible day. And obviously I missed like about 12 or 14 days, so was already behind. So the weekend I was mainly playing catch up and struggling because you've got to control and take tiles around you. And because I missed that period and my faction was big and busy, that loss of being able to farm the tiles near me, I logged on and just everything had gone near me. So basically, it's not just a stage of trying to play catch up. It's trying to play catch up and not being able to because there's literally nothing around you. So it's taken me some days to sort of like expand and get forts out to increase my sphere of influence so I can send my armies out. So it is essential, that early gameplay. So people who are getting into season 2 probably need to take the day off work, sick day, pretend you're ill, grab COVID, whatever works, just share a drink with your friend who's got COVID and you will be fine for the day. Make the most of your game.
You'll be fine for 2 weeks.
5 to 2 weeks, yeah, you'll be well ahead. That would be the best way. Tactical use of COVID for if you're in a country that supports, sick leave for COVID.
So are you able to catch up?
I'm nowhere near as caught up as some of the others are. And the problem as well is that some of these people are massive whales. And I've said this to Adam, and I think last week we were talking about it. There are people in this game that I know that have spent, and they are mid-level whales. I see their gear is like half, of the maximum it should be, and they're about $3,000 or $4,000 in. And I came across a guy today, and he's got like about 10 different characters, and they've all got the maximum level of gear. And I'm talking, he must have put in, no joke, about 20,000, at least 20,000, if not more US dollars. So there are people, when you get into season 2 and you mix with these people, you're just like, holy gosh. But the game counters that a little bit. I mean, everyone points them out and they say, this guy, watch out for this guy as his army's marching. But because of the stamina in the game, you can only actually march with that army like 7 times. And then after 7 times, you've used their like 140 stamina, and you have to slowly wait for their stamina to respawn before you can even march the army again. So you can kind of like play a chess game in that you need to have a tile next to theirs to attack. So you basically end up playing chess, trying to like move your army around and their army move to attack your army, or then try and capture their tile so they don't have a connecting one. So it turns into this. The fight against the whale is not, I'm going to throw my army at you. It's, I'm just going to run around in circles and make you waste all of your stamina. So you've got this expensive army that's cost you thousands, but you ain't doing jack, boy. You're chasing ghosts.
So how long is the season?
What did Jamil say? One of ours used...
somebody on their server used $10,000 in season 1.
One season is what, 1 month, right?
2 months.
2 months.
So $10,000 in 2 months.
So at that rate, he'll spend 60,000 in the year. Hey, honey, I've seen your mobile phone bill, $60,000.
Probably some single lawyer is making like 200K a year, and they're just like, throw it away.
But I mean, like, is Lord of the Rings similar to like Clash of the Clans and stuff, where like people like big YouTubers or streamers that they spend 10, 20K and they make it up back because of advertising and fees and sponsorships and that sort of stuff. So
I think Phil's the biggest streamer on this game currently.
no. There are some of these guys there's 3, I think, at like the top end, which is sort of like they're having 15,000 views on their videos. So the game is big. There are a lot of people in that game. There's sort of like there's about 20 or so streamers that I know that are in like the affiliate program, the Fearless Pioneers program, with the game. And there's a lot of different content and people, and now they split the servers up to like role play and mixed. So, you can end up with more variety and people are going to be able to do more content. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so Jamil says he just invited his wife, and then he spent $2,500 for his wife yesterday. So between the two of them, they've spent $12,500. So that's a very understanding wife, though. I mean, hey, that's a keeper right there. If she's like, drop the money.
$100 packs. So it's like, oh, I love you, baby. Did you buy me flowers? No, I've bought you 25 packs in this game.
Oh my God, I love you forever. You're the best.
It is,
so
and sorry.
does the no? I'm just curious. Does the game prevent like cloistering of whales in a particular faction?
No, you can go together, but I mean, it doesn't. Because of how the servers have merged this season. So you've got like 6 servers from the original one or so that have been merged together. So what's happened is like a lot of people from maybe that one server, half of them they've all come together, and half of them, like for our server, went to a good guy faction, and half went to an evil faction, and they kind of stuck together to make 2 solid groups. But because that's happened with 6 servers, like everyone's got like 2 solid groups, or maybe even more, that are all coming into the game, and they're distributed out because factions have a certain size limit, or just out of interest of where you want to go. So on our server, I can already see now there's like 5 contenders for the ring out of the 10 factions. So it'll be depending on politics and the small factions being kingmakers, or who ends up annoying each other, because at the end there can only be one faction that takes the ring. So it depends on how the politics works. And to be honest, that has been most of my last 3 days. Once I've finished streaming, my days since then have been in chat rooms with other faction leaders and fellowship leaders trying to sort out politics. Hardcore. And I mean, like between just our faction, the Rohan faction, I would expect there's probably been about 10,000 messages or so in the last 3 days over like 20 different chat rooms. It's been insane. It's pretty much a full-time job just to follow the politics.
Just to go back on the amount spent, is there any kind of warning, like when you play, don't remember which game did that, maybe Age of Empires or something, you have been playing 3 hours, maybe it's time for a coffee break or something like this. Do they do this for the amount spent? You have been spending $1,000. Do you realize that maybe you should stop for the day? Something like this.
We have activated quick buy on your account. Now you can buy up to 10 packs at one time.
Sounds like a Kojima thing. All of his games
do
do
that.
that.
For you.
No. Well, I mean, they were pretty smart about it in season 2. Like they increased the what you got for your money. They kind of like did better, like season passes for $20 US. They made it so that if you're even a part-time player, then you're probably still going to pay the $20 just for the bonuses that you get to really unlock the characters. And they also reset, because they had like all the gems that you could buy, all the packs. They were like those, now double gems. Buy $100 and you get $200 worth of fake unicorn coins. And they basically reset it in the season. So now everybody logged back in and went, oh, look at that. Now I can get double fake unicorn coins for my money again. I'll spend it all. And things like that. So what they call it? They're gems, not fake unicorn coins, but the same thing.
Fake unicorn coins is a way better name.
Yeah. Better than
Although
those real unicorn coins.
Although an acronym doesn't work very well for them. I've just realized fake unicorn coin.
Oh, yes.
Well done, man.
That could be kind of catchy, though. You can make a crypto out of that as
Fake
fake unicorn coins.
I've got no Fake unicorn guys.
All
Well,
right.
I think it's already time. Do you have any news for us today, Adam? Or
No, I actually didn't have any news because I figured we would probably take a
4
while.
people. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and I
That's
figured if there
cool.
was any news, Korean probably had it. So,
All right, so don't
Oh, I
forget.
did mean. Well, sorry, there was one thing I wanted to say.
Sure.
We are edging slowly. We were going super fast. We've slowed down a little bit, but we are getting there to the magical, mystical 1,000 subscriber specials. I don't want to mock it too much, but we're hitting the 750 mark, so we're not too far away. I am sure that between these 4 mighty brains, we will come up with some sort of subscriber special event or something that we will do
We'll
or
have to
stream
do that for sure.
when we hit that mark.
Just
We
being
gotta-
the 4 of us together is already very special. You realize that?
I feel like that's less. Hey guys, subscribe. When you get 1,000, you'll get 4 of us again.
And then we'll do the take off our shirt stuff.
No.
And then we went down to 500 subscribers.
No, we get a strike.
that's right.
Oh God, yes, we would get a strike. Actually, yes. Antoine has. I do remember reading something along that line.
I just got told one of the Fearless Pioneers group, they got a strike for the Lord of the Rings. They're Fearless Pioneer, make content for it, and apparently they the intro screen sound they used it for their video, and then got a warning from YouTube.
Oh,
And
no.
basically contacted the company saying, "What the hell is going on?" So they said, "Oh, you have to. What is it? You have to go through the meticulous routine of appealing it and then waiting for them to contact and all that sort of stuff to release it." We just had to do it. I think somebody did it. Was it Antoine?
Antoine did it.
Korean.
Yeah.
They released the copyright.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the guy reviewing it was the guy who gave us the strike in the first place too. So it was like, oh, this isn't going to go well, but it worked out. So
Out of this world. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. We should probably end up then because Antoine needs to go to bed and I need to go out as well.
all right.
Yeah, no, that's all right. So just don't forget Phil's appointment this weekend for Lord of the
Yes.
Ring. And apart from that, see us again next week, same time. And
For
don't
some
forget, of
mystery
course,
topic.
to subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can reach the 1,000 and get this very special episode that we actually don't have any idea what to do yet, but we will.
We should
It's
find a
subscribe
game that all
fast.
4 of us will stream at the same time.
Yeah.
Same
Exactly. All right. So thanks everyone for joining us tonight, and see you next week.
See you
sure.
next time.
Take care.
Bye-bye.